What is up? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to backtest any trading strategy in the world. It's crazy because we can see, hey, did it work in the past? If it worked in the past, it might work in the future. It's not guaranteed, of course, but backtests are a great way to make sure you're spending your time on the right things instead of the wrong things. My name is Moondev, and I am a fully algorithmic trader. I truly believe that code is the great equalizer. I'm just a regular dude that did not know how to code prior. I was super scared of it, maybe like yourself. And I didn't go to school for this. I don't have some fancy math degree or anything. I just needed to automate my trading strategies because I was trading by hand and I needed to remove the emotion because that's what got me wrecked. Every time, every single time. You buy when you're supposed to sell, you sell when you're supposed to buy. You know how it goes. And this is like the most secretive industry in the world, so nobody shares any of this information, so I just had to. So as a believer in code being the great equalizer, if you can't learn it, then how is it gonna help people? So I wanted to make sure to get some videos out here. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to backtest. And don't worry, you don't need some fancy degree. You can do this from home. You don't need to be super good at math. I know coding is intimidating, and I get it. I've been there. But hand traders, they just can't win. They can't win because there's emotion. So, ups and downs, and sure, you're going to have good days. But overall, it's going to be very hard to be precise every single day for the rest of your life. That's why I truly believe that automating the strategy is the best way to do it. Machines don't sleep. They can look at everything. So let's just dive in here and show you exactly how to build out a backtest with Backtesting.py. And then we can explain it as well with using Luxy or ChatGPT or whatever. So let me close this and let's go ahead and make a new window here, or not a window, what do you call it? New file. And we'll call this 77 backtest, backtesting.py. And let's see, what type of backtest should we do today? You can literally backtest anything. So let's try out a strategy where we look at yesterday's low and essentially we use yesterday's low in order to be the last time we close or where we close. We'll work on this as we go. And I just want to really show you how the library works because I can make any strategy right now. It doesn't really matter, but the thing that matters is that you see how to do it. So first you got to install the libraries. So let's go ahead and just show you what installs we need to do. Pip install backtesting. That will get backtesting and py in there, and then pip install ta lib. Those are two things we need to do. And then we need to make our import. So let's import numpy. As np. Let's import pandas. And if you don't have these already pip installed, just go ahead, Google how to pip install them. Super easy. From backtesting, import backtest. I actually need to jump to a different whatever. Let's go to tflow, I believe will work. There we go. From backtesting, import backtest, and then also strategy. And then from backtesting .test, import goog if you want. Now I'm actually going to use my own data and it's goog. It's like that. I'm going to use my own data, so I'm not even going to use that line. But let's go ahead and ask Luxy to build us a backtest so we can have it explained as well. So while we're building our own, we're going to do like a SMA type strategy and use the previous close in some manner. I'm going to kind of freestyle this a bit because at the end of the day, I just want to show you exactly how to build out backtest. So let's say, please build me a backtest using backtesting.py that buys when we are over the 20 SMA and closes if we dip under yesterday's low. Please explain every line of code so I fully understand it. Oh my goodness, I reached my limit. So let me go ahead and try to figure that out. By the way, if you want me to show you how to do all this stuff, I can show you inside the boot camp. I don't like to pitch it too hard, but it just is what it is. Everybody asks me, hey, how do I algo trade? So it's like I can show you each day, or I can just put it all into a boot camp. Anyways, you can see I got it going here. So this is what it generated. And it was pretty quick. So import backtesting, from backtesting, import crossover. So this is pretty amazing because you can literally just go here, and for everything you see me do today in this video, you can then ask Luxy or ChatGPT, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all AI. And explain it all to you step by step. So it's really just about learning how to use AI at this point, because I'll show you the way, and then you can really understand it by going back into AI and say like, hey, can you explain each line? And I'm not going to read through this right now because I got a backtest I want to build out with you. So I just wanted to show you that, hey, you can just instruct AI like, hey, explain every single line so I totally understand it. But let's go ahead and keep writing this out. So I'm going to make a pullback strategy. Pull back strategy. And then we'll pass in the strategy there. We'll say n equals 20. And this will be the 20-day moving average. 20 SMA. And then we'll just init. You got to do this at the start of each one. So every strategy will have an init. Close equals self.data.close. Self.SMA. And we're going to pass in the data in a bit after we build all this out. talib.sma. Pass in the close. Self.n. And then we'll make this next statement, and this pretty much runs every single time that we run, or it looks at each bar of data and runs this. So price equals self.data.close in the -1 position, and then SMA equals self.SMA at the -1 position, and then yesterday's low. Remember, I was saying we're going to use yesterday's low equals self.data.low of yesterday will be -2 because that's 2 days ago. So stop loss equals yesterday's low. Essentially, we're saying, hey, yesterday's low is going to be our stop loss. And then our take prof equals yesterday's low plus 1.5 multiplied by price minus stop loss. And then if self.position is long, and if price is under or equal to the stop loss, or price is over the take profit, then we want to close. Because remember, we want to tell the bot or the algo, hey, you know, if we are in profit or hit our stop loss, close it. Essentially, this part of the code here is looping for each day of data. So day or minute or 15 minutes or whatever. You know, I can get data for 5 minutes, 1 minute, whatever type of data we need. I can test this on, and I'll show you at the end. But this next statement here, you know, this runs one time. It just inits everything. So it gets like the SMA from talib and all that. And then this runs every bar. So you can see it's like, hey, if our price, if we've hit our stop loss or take profit, we want to close now. So we just say self.position position dot close, like that. And then we can move on to the elif statement. If price is over the SMA, then we print, this is our stop loss. And then this is our take profit. Just like that. And then we want to just try to self.buy. SL equals stop loss. TP equals take profit. And then except, if that doesn't work, we'll just pass. And then we need to pull in the data. We test the strategy. So test the strategy and pull in the data. So how do we get data? Well, I've got a data file that's in the bootcamp. So anybody that's part of the bootcamp gets access to this. Let's go ahead, historical data. Let's just get 1 day data here, 1 day. And let's start from 2015. That's a long time, so that's good. Let's just get all of that. And it's gonna take a minute because that's what, 2015 to 2023 now. So that's a lot of data, 8 years of data. Got it, here you can see. And we'll go ahead and see where it's at. 1 day, looks like it's right here. It's probably it. I mean, it might not be, but let's check. Yeah, it is 7-7. So let's go ahead and copy path here. And then let's go back to what we were working on, 7-7 backtesting. Here we are. And then we're gonna pull in the data here. So I'm just gonna place it here for now. You can see it's right there. And then from here, we want to go ahead and use an example from prior, because that's always the best way to do it, in my opinion. Is just like, you already set it up, and I've done this so many times that let's just jump over to one of our older files here and see if we can find one. Okay, I think this will work, this right here, and we can just copy over this, and I'll go over all of it, don't worry. So June, let's go back here, and let's just look through this. First, we're gonna bring in the data here. So pd.read, and then we wanna switch it out to bring in this data here. So this just reads in the data that we just generated from the file that I showed you. And you can have access to that file inside the bootcamp. If not, just use like Yahoo Finance or something. And then we're going to capitalize all of it. So all of the columns, we just capitalize those columns because the data is actually not capitalized. And then we run this line that says backtest, BT equals backtest. We pass in this data here, and then we pass in the strategy. You can see I was doing an Elliott wave strategy prior. So, you know, I do this all the time because this is what I do. I love this game. And you can say 10,000. I'm going to put 100,000 because we're trading Bitcoin and it can't do portions. I'm actually going to do 1 million. So it essentially, with Backtesting.py, this is something that is a little tricky, but it can't buy in fractions. So it's not going to, like, you know, Bitcoin's like, I don't know how much it is, 30,000 or something. You know, if you only had 10,000 in cash, it wouldn't make any trades because it can't buy a third of Bitcoin. So commission is 0.002, which is 2x the amount it usually is, in my opinion. Usually you can get for 0.001, that's 0.1%, but I like to have it higher because if it's higher than it's supposed to be, then, and it still works, then that's a good sign, you know? And I would rather be conservative when it comes to that. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Let's go ahead, and then you just get the stats here by saying stats equals bt.run. So this is super chill. It's super easy to do. And then you just print stats. Now, sure, it's going to take some time to figure it out, but you can see our max drawdown was crazy, 82%, return negative 40%. But just like that, I was able to backtest this strategy. Pretty cool, huh? So you can see it printed out all that data that I asked for. Those were stop losses. You can see the start was 2015. The end was 2023. So the duration was 2,900 days. Exposure time was 54% of the time. The equity final is 594,000. So this strategy does not work. The return percentage is minus 40%. The buy and hold was 10,000%. So just hold Bitcoin in this scenario. But that's fine. We're just going to go ahead, and I just wanted to make sure you have a template so you can build anything out. And let's just move on to another strategy. And this is how you find winning strategies is essentially you just test and test. So I have another version of this SMA pullback that I want to mess around with. So let's go ahead and put in the stop loss here. Stop loss equals 0. And then price. Let's change this to price. Self.sma, talib.sma. So I just want to change this up so you can see how it changes. And then we're going to say N1. It's going to be N1 here. I'm going to show you how to use the optimizer inside of Backtesting.py, which is pretty dope. It will optimize for you to figure out which one is the best. I'm actually going to delete all this because I just want to make this super clear and just pretty much rewrite this and have a couple changes. So we've got price there. I don't need SMA. We're going to go say low price previous day equals self.data.low minus 2. And then if price is over self.sma negative 1, then we want to say self.stop loss equals low price previous day. And then we want to say, hey, we want to buy if we're under 2.5 multiplied the self.stop loss, and then we'll self.buy. So this is pretty much a long only system. And then down here, we bring in the data just like we did before. And then we bring in the strategy here. We bring in the amount of money. And then this is what I wanted to show you really is this output. Output.bt.optimize. So it will optimize for us. And then we maximize for equity final and then we say N1 equals range 5 41. So remember N1 is the SMA, so we're asking it to optimize using the SMA, and then we print the output. So let's print output. Can't type today, I'm sorry. Print output. And then we want to plot this as well. So I just want to show you all the features that I use. So I'm using the optimizer now, and then I'm also using the plotter. Let's see if this works. So look at that, it's optimizing now, and then it found the most optimized version of this. And you can see here, how well did it do? Look at this, it's way better now. So I just used an optimizer inside of Backtesting.py to be like, yo, optimize this strategy to be the best it can be. Here's the variables I want to use on the SMAs, and you can see it totally changed the game. So yes, the max drawdown is huge, but the max drawdown with crypto is always huge. Annual return percent is 84. Sharp ratio is not crazy, not very good, but it's all right. I mean, it's because it's such a big drawdown, it's not very good. The return percentage per year is 84%, which is good. This is what I really look at though, is the return percentage, 12.874%, versus if I just bought and hold, it'd be 10.647. You can see the equity final is like 129 million, which is nice. So we'll go ahead and say the return is that. Let's see what other, I just love this because it's so many different great stats. So essentially this strategy just purchased at the best time period down here and sold up there. So you can see it only made one trade. So is it the best strategy to run? No, because I mean, you can just buy and hold, in my opinion. There's no reason to run a strategy that only trades one time. But it's okay. Let's just keep moving. This is how you do it. I just want to keep showing you and keep showing you more and more ways to use Backtesting.py, because if you figure out how to use Backtesting.py, I feel like it's the superpower. And you can use any backtesting thing you want. I used to use Backtrader. I just like Backtesting.py better. I'm not like sponsored or anything. So let's go ahead and build one more backtest out while we're here. All right, so this one is based on time, and so I'm going to call it a time one, and I'll just explain the strategy as we go. But let's say 9:30, 10:30. This one's only trading between 9:30 and 10:30. Let's call this 9:30 backtest. 9:30 backtest. That's fine. And remember, this is the thing that we need, is this data here. But this strategy is going to be, it needs to be with smaller data, because this is daily data. So I actually need like 15-minute data. So I actually have, here's some 5-minute data here. I'll just use this. Copy path here. And just like I made the data for the daily, you can do that with the 5-minute. I just changed it to 5 minutes instead of daily. So now I have this data here. I'll put it in here. This is 5-minute data. And I'm just getting this set up at the start because why not? Let's go ahead and put it down here. And now let's start coding out the actual strategy. So the reason I had to use 5-minute data here, because this strategy, this strat only trades between 9:30 and 10:30 Eastern. Why? Well, that's actually the first hour of the market. So I think of ideas all day long, and I come up with strategies and I backtest them. And this is one of the ideas I had. It's like, okay, well, this is where all the volume is. I mean, that's where the most volume is, at least. So let's go ahead and backtest this real quick. I just want to show you one more example here before we jump off. And if you want to see more, then just join the bootcamp. It's right there. The link's below. But let's go ahead. Like before, we just import backtesting. Let's go ahead and import TA-lib. Let's import pandas as PD. Let's say class equals the SMA trading strategy. And then we'll say backtesting.strategy. So before I imported that a different way, I just said from backtesting import strategy, but I just want to show you multiple ways to do this to confuse you. No, I'm just kidding. I want to show you multiple ways, because then you can fully understand it. And if I show you the same way every time, then you won't, sure, you'll understand it that way, but I want you to like fully grasp it so you can then go ahead and customize it how you want. So remember, I can always take this code. Look at this. I can take this code and say, hey, please explain the below code step by step so I fully understand it. And then I paste it in here, and then Luxy should just go ahead and explain it for me. So install the libraries. So this is the key. It's just like wanting to do it, really, because AI can teach us anything. So if you're able to watch the videos on my channel and then pass it into Luxy or wherever, you'll be able to understand everything. And if you can understand anything, then you can backtest anything. If you can backtest anything, then you can find any strategy that you want. Let's go ahead and switch this to the 15-minute. I think it's 8:40 right now, so I'm curious about what's going to happen here in the market. Looks like we just had a pretty big bar here. Always like to keep my eye on the market around this time. But anyways, let's jump back into it. So you can see you can have everything explained through AI. It doesn't matter if you use whatever you use. AI is AI, essentially. They're all the same models. This one's being built for finance specifically, though, so that might be advantageous. But let's go ahead and pass in self. And then we'll say self.SMA5 equals self.I, and then we'll just tap into TA lib and say, hey, we want the SMA. Thank you. And then we'll say self.data, and we'll say self.close, self.data.close, and then we'll say time period equals 5 because we want the 5 SMA. And then we actually want to do something fairly similar for the 20. Just gonna pass in 20 here. So I just copied it over, 20. And then we'll go ahead and say self.entry hour equals 9, self.exit hour equals 10. So we'll be entering at 9, exiting at 10. And we'll say def next, because remember the above was just, it runs at one time. Now the below runs at each bar. So it just depends on how many bars you have, but you know, we have unlimited data. So self.data.datetime and we'll say -1. We'll say 2 pi date just to format it, and we'll say dot hour, and then we'll go ahead and say if self.position, if hour is bigger or equal to self dot, oh my goodness, not in green though, self dot exit hour, then we'll say self dot position dot close, because that is our close condition. And then, since we have our close condition, we want to have our actual buy position. So first, essentially, we're saying, hey, if we're in position, check to see if the hour is over the exit hour, which is 10 a.m. And if it is, then we will get out. So if hour, now to enter, if hour is bigger than self.entry hour and self.SMA5, so we're just doing a simple SMA strategy here again. Self.SMA20 -1. Then we'll say self.buy. And then we'll pass in a bunch of information. Size equals 1. Stop loss equals self.data.close -1. -1. Multiply it by 1 minus self dot stop loss percentage divided by 1,000, and then TP equals self dot data dot close -1 multiplied by 1 plus self dot take profit divided by 1,000, and that should be good for our buy condition. And essentially we need to just pull in all this data now, and we'll say, okay, this is our data, we'll capitalize it all. Let's drop any data that doesn't appear. Data dot drop NA. There shouldn't be much for that though. And excuse me, we want to say backtest equals backtesting. I actually set this up differently. Remember, I didn't import it, so I have to say backtesting and then backtest. And you see what I did differently there? You can see here, I usually import it up here. Import backtesting, bring in strategy, bring in backtest, but I didn't this time. So now I have to say backtesting.backtest. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. I'm here to help. Let's go ahead and then pass in the strategy. So let's just copy that over. And then cash will be a mil again. And then commission equals 2.2%, which is high, and that's good. And then the result, let's go ahead and delete this stuff. Result equals BT, we're gonna optimize this time right away. So the first time we're gonna optimize, and we'll say we'll maximize the equity. And this is why I love Backtesting.py. It can optimize for us, which is so dope. Is that how you spell equity? No. Come on, Moon, you got this. Equity final. My guy. Okay. Comma. And we'll say stop loss PCT equals range. So we're testing the stop losses essentially. And the take profits. So in this strategy, we're not optimizing for what the best SMA is, because that a lot of times will overfit, but we're optimizing the take profit and the stop loss. And then we want to go ahead and say print results, and then also bt.plot. So look at that. I just showed you 3 back tests, and hopefully this one works, but this is a 5-minute one. Okay, date, time, column, item. So we just had a little error. Date, time is not in the data. Okay, so let's just look at that data real quick. So we're using this data here. Column, item, not in data. So this is good. We're running into a little error, because then you get to see how we can debug. So let's go to that line, and what's it say? 42, optimize, self, strategy, line 19. Self.date time. PD timestamp. This is weird to me, actually. I don't see why this one's not working, but I don't think it's lowercase, because I switch everything to uppercase. See right here, I capitalize all the columns, and if this is the data, then this should be capitalized. And if I go up here, just paste it in, it'll be capitalized now. See, am I importing everything correctly? Yes. Backtesting, TAlib, pandas. And we could just ask Luxy how to do this because this is interesting. It was just working. This is my code. So I'll just say, this is my code. How do I fix this error? And then also, let's pass in, this is the data example. And then we'll pass in some of the data. See if we can debug this a bit. But you saw at least how we can build it, so I don't want to take up too much of your time here. But the error you're encountering is due to the fact that the column datetime does not exist in your data. In your code, you're using self.data.datetime to access datetime. To access datetime column, but in the provided data example, the column name is datetime. Yes. To fix this error, you need to change self.data.datetime to datetime. Here's the updated code. I don't think that's true. Because we changed the, but we already capitalized date time. So shouldn't it be capitalized already and working? Let's see what he said. Apologies for the confusion. If you have already capitalized the column name as date time, then your code should run. It seems that the column name in the data example you provided is date time, not date time capitalized. Please double check your column in your data and ensure that it matches the column name. If the column is indeed date time capitalized, it's super weird. I'll have to look at this later, but you know what? Since I'm here, let's just move on to another strategy because I want to show you like how I do this. I'll dive into this later, and if you want to see the results from this strategy, then please just let me know. But I just want to show you multiple examples here so you can really understand this and then be able to backtest anything. Because I feel if you can backtest anything, then you can just figure out where to spend your time. Because you'll be able to see, hey, this is a working strategy in the past, at least. It's not guaranteed to work in the future, but if you see it works in the past, then there's a chance it works in the future. There's a better chance than one that doesn't work in the past, right? So this won't be an ADX strategy. Let's go ahead and say, please explain what ADX and MACD is in trading, because we're going to use both of them. And then while that does that, let's go ahead and start importing from backtesting, import backtest. So you can see now I'm going back to the old way, and the reason is so you can see there's multiple ways to do this. It just depends on what you want to do. You could bring in some data here. I'm not gonna actually, so I'm gonna import TALib. And then we're going to say import pandas as PD, and then class my strategy, pass in the strategy. And then remember we put in the time period. Well, I was going to say, remember we init, but I got a little ahead of myself. We got to init it. So init is the thing that runs one time at the start. And we'll say self.macd. Self.signal, self.hist equals self.i, and we'll pass in talib.macd, and then self.data.close. Is that gonna work though? It doesn't look like it's highlighting, so maybe it won't work. But self.i talib. Let's go ahead and say self.adx equals self.i talib.adx. Hopefully This one works. No, it didn't highlight, but we'll see later. Self.data. I might just need to update my TAlib. Hi, self.data.low, self.data.close. And then we'll say time period equals self.time period. And then we'll say self.market is bullish. We'll just say that. We'll set it to false to start. Now, this is just a new strategy, so you might be a little confused here, right? Like, what am I doing? I'm just building out a different strategy. So there's just like different things we need to init. And then we say if self.macd, if it equals -1, or if it's over self.signal of -1, then market is bullish. Call it true. Elif self.macd -1 self.signal -1, then market is bullish with equals false. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and talk about what these signals are. So the ADX average directional index and MACD moving average convergence divergence are popular technical indicators used in trading. Average directional index, which is ADX, is a technical indicator used to measure the strength of a trend. It does not indicate the direction of the trend, but rather strength or intensity of the trend. ADX values range from 0 to 100, with higher values suggesting a stronger or more persistent trend. I'm not going to talk about how it's calculated, but let's talk about the moving average convergence divergence. MACD is a popular trend following momentum indicator. It consists of two lines, the MACD line and the signal line. The MACD line is calculated by subtracting the 26 period exponential moving average EMA from the 12 period EMA. The signal line is a 9 period EMA. So now you know what those signals are, at least. I know I didn't go too deep into it, but I want to keep coding because I think this is where you're really going to be able to put in your own strategies. Let's go ahead and say 20. If it's over 20, then we want to say if market is bullish, then we want to do self.buy. And then if or else, we want to self-sell. Because if it's not bullish, it's bearish. And then we want to pass in the data. So let's just go ahead and grab this data here. We're going to go ahead and bring in the backtest. BT equals backtest. And we'll pass in the data. And then we'll pass in my strategy. And then we'll pass in, remember, the high commission. I like high commissions because it's like if it works with a high commission, it's even better. Cash, we'll do a mil. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then the stats will be bt.optimize. Again, we're optimizing here. So this is why I love backtesting.py is you can optimize things. Final. Sorry, I need to put this in quotations. Equity. Final. Dollar amount. Does that look right? Yeah. No, actually, I need to put it right there and then say time period equals range. So we're saying between 10 and 30. I messed something up here. Sorry. I think that is not supposed to be here. This little bracket. Buy. And I don't know what this bracket's doing there. Okay. Cool, that looks good to me now. And then we'll go ahead and say print stats so we can see the stats. And then we say bt.plot, so we're plotting it. Let's run it. This is gonna take a while, actually. I shouldn't have used this much data. but it's going to take a long time because it's 5-minute data. But that's okay. I just want to show you that, I'm using 5-minute data, which is crazy, from 2015. So it's going to take a while to optimize this. But as it's optimized, I'm actually going to go run and grab some coffee. Look at that. That is great. Awesome. So now we got a little bit of coffee. And let's go ahead and read through some of this. Like, see how it's calculated, because the ADX is calculated based on the relationship between the positive direction momentum and the negative direction movement, over a given period. It smooths the value to provide a single line representing the strength of the trend. Traders use ADX to, oh no, we had a little error somewhere. Too many candlesticks to plot. Okay, so it's not an error. It's just not going to plot it for us. But we can see the final equity is, okay, the return percentage is 9,000%, which is awesome. But if you look at the buy and hold, it's not better. The annualized return is 78%, which, people would die for, which is awesome. The Sharpe ratio is 0.52. So you can see it's just too many trades to print on a screen. Or on the actual chart. But let's go ahead and use a daily one, see if we can get a little less trades here. Not less trades, but less bars. Copy path here. Let's paste this in here. It'll still optimize. I just wanted to make sure to give you a few examples in this video so you fully understand how to use Backtesting.py. And if you have questions, you can just ask in the Discord. Look at this. This is a solid strategy. It doesn't trade a lot. It only made one trade though. So it's, whatever. You got to find strategies that trade a little bit more, in my opinion. Otherwise, you just buy and hold. But I think we went over 3 or 4 strategies in this video. I hope this helped make sense of Backtesting.py. It's my favorite backtesting platform. I used to use Backtrader. It was cool as well. This is just, in my opinion, better. So I know a lot of people in the bootcamp have been asking for this video for me to go over a bunch of different strategies. So I'll actually just go ahead and throw this video in the bootcamp. And this is the type of things I'll show off in the bootcamp, step-by-step videos like this, how to use different packages, how to algo trade essentially at the end of the day. Because I am an algo trader and I get people asking me every single day, hey, can you just teach me how to do this step by step? And my videos are really just showing you guys what I'm doing in the day. And so I'm not going to be able to teach it step by step every YouTube video, right? These are just free YouTube videos showing exactly how I do algo trading, what my steps are. It's backtesting. I backtest, and then I build it into algorithms. But inside of the bootcamp, I actually show you step by step very clearly how to do everything. So you can go ahead and join if you'd like. If not, just join the the Discord. And looks like we got a volatile day ahead of us. It's 9 a.m. I'm going to go ahead and check it out. So I appreciate your time today. I hope this was super helpful. I appreciate you. You're onto something big. If you're still here at the end of this video, I'm excited for your future. And I hope to see you inside the Discord and we can chat. Have an amazing day.